Welcome one and all to another edition of the Devo Show with Lubie here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, brought to you by Water Cleanup of Florida. The rains are here. It is the summer, which wreaks havoc on our homes and offices. No worries. Water Cleanup of Florida is here for you all summer long, all year long. With any water or fire damage, just call them 954-579-0356. Michael, Robert, George, their entire team, and over 60 years of combined experience makes it easy for you to trust them. First of all, I've used them. My wife and I use them. But Google has loads and loads and loads, well over 80 5-star reviews to make you feel comfortable. But again, with so much years in the business, they know what they're doing. Plus, having certified, insured, licensed contractors on staff, they not only get the job done with any water or fire issues, they'll make it look brand new. Again, 954-579-0356. Check them out on their website, WCUFL.com, WCUFL.com, and also on the socials at Water Cleanup FL. Again, Google is all of our friends. It's Water Cleanup Florida's friend. Check them out on Google. It'll back up everything I've said. Water Cleanup of Florida. If you have the schmutz, they have the guts. Things have gotten very schmutzy when it comes to Damian Lillard and the Portland Trailblazers. He asked out of Portland, wants a trade. Finally, a lot of us have been waiting for it for a few years now. Well, he did it, and he named one specific team. You got it, the Miami Heat. So the last few days have been very interesting. Where are we with that? What is the whole situation? What is the future? We talked about all of it today with Sean Deveney, NBA insider, NBA reporter, editor for Heavy.com, and author. Sean Deveney, myself, today talking Damian Lillard, Miami Heat, and more NBA offseason on the Devo Show with Lubie here on the 5 Reasons Sports. Lubie here on the 5 Reasons Sports. We are privileged and lucky to talk to this gentleman for years now, and he's grown in stature, but he keeps hanging around with us, and we appreciate it. The one and only Sean Deveney, editor, insider, writer, reporter, and author with Heavy.com. Good morning, Sean. How you doing?
Good morning, Lubie. How are you?
I'm good, my friend. So it's funny. We've had you on. We've talked with other NBA people, and everyone said it sort of seems like we all know what should happen in Portland, but both sides were dragging their feet. And when last we talked, that's where we left it. Portland was clearly rebuilding. They were going to use their number 3 overall pick and go against Damian Lillard's wishes. And Damian Lillard wanted to win now. They were at opposing sides. Well, I think it was Saturday. I don't remember being Friday, but Friday or Saturday, finally, Damian Lillard asked for a trade, and he asked for a trade to one destination. And now over the last almost week, that has not changed. It's been Miami Heat, Miami Heat, Miami Heat. Now, throughout the year, the last couple of years, I've seen you report on the Heat a lot, so you definitely are clued into what's going on down here a little bit, and you definitely report on the NBA at large. First, before we get into the muck of it, what was your first reaction when you finally, and I'm sure you didn't hear the news, quote unquote, because you're an insider too, so I'm sure you knew the news was coming in some form. I know Chris Haynes has a real close relationship to Damian Lillard, so he, quote unquote, broke it. But I know all you guys are clued in and have your sources and have your tie-ins. When you heard that it was finally, the rumbles were coming out, what was your reaction to finally Lillard did definitively ask for a trade?
Yeah, I think it was all along a matter of when and not if. That, when there were these signals being sent out that, well, maybe he'll stay, maybe Portland will rebuild around him. Portland didn't want to rebuild around him. They didn't. You don't really want when you're in that situation. That of course you want to show loyalty and all that. But he's 33 and he's got a contract that's going to dominate your books going forward. So there's really no way that you're looking at this situation saying, okay, sign me up for 4 years of us being borderline 500 team, which is where Portland is. So there's no question that it was always going to wind up with Damian Lillard looking for a trade. It was just a matter of when, and certainly the timing was odd. They had the meeting and all that, but still, this is something that probably should have been determined before the NBA draft. That it would have been much easier for Portland to go ahead and find a deal at that time. By waiting to when he did, it did limit what the Blazers can do here, and it's going to make it a much more difficult summer for them than it would have if they had known about this a month ago.
Well, and and look, and both sides, no side wanted to look bad here, but that's the thing. Players have asked for trades. Players have hinted they want to go out. Teams have shown, look, we're rebuilding, and the veteran guy can either ask out or we'll get rid of him early. That's, to me, the most interesting part about this is how the Blazers have handled the whole thing. It's like everyone knew it was coming. Why not just when something's mysterious, you have more leverage. You have more power. You have the ability to do more with it. The trade, even at the trade deadline, the Blazers weren't contending this year. And you had Shaden Sharp. You had Simons. You were going to get a top 5 pick. Like, you had so much value in Damian Lillard, and he wasn't pissed, and he wasn't asking out. Like, and he wasn't picking places. You had the entire league at your disposal. Like, why not do it then from what you know? Like, what was holding them back from doing it then?
Yeah, they obviously were in a position where they didn't want to look bad. They didn't want to be a team that had a player willing to be loyal, and they were the ones making the decision to move him. I think they were really afraid that so many times you get the star player demanding the trade, and the star player is the one that looks bad in the whole thing. The team never wants to be in that position, where they're doing that. So, that was certainly the case with Portland, which really has this small market vibe about it. That it's the family, that it's us against them. All that sort of stuff. There's an ownership change as well. That's part of it as well. They're very, very much concerned about the image, probably more so than they need to be, and certainly more so than other teams would be. The Blazers were really afraid of looking bad by dealing away Damian Lillard if he didn't absolutely expressly say, I would like to be traded. So, they were very, very much married to the idea that he's got to ask us or else we're not going to do this.
Okay, so the big hang-up for a lot of people has been the fact that he not only had demands, but he demanded one team, and he has not moved off that. Like, we've seen Kevin Durant put out 2 to 3 teams, even though a lot of people realized he just wanted to go to Phoenix. Okay? And we've seen Anthony Davis say just the Lakers, but it took months to get there, so people sort of forgot that he did that.
Right, and remember Anthony Davis had like Milwaukee on the list too.
Yeah, I think he had at least a list,
but at least he had the decency to put another team on there. Right.
Like, he had a list, and we've seen Paul George and Kawhi literally have a list and get traded to someone that I don't even know if was on the friggin' list. So in other instances, they didn't just have one team and stick to it. Even though in the back of most people's minds, you knew the team they were trying to engineer to get to. They had lists. Lillard hasn't done that, and that's really stuck in the craw of a lot of people, a lot of Blazers fans, a lot of Blazers media, a lot of national media. You cover this. Most people feel like he's going to end up in Miami, whether it's a 3-team trade, a 5-team trade, whatever the hell trade it is. Where are you at with it? And a lot of people's big issue is, well, he didn't have no trade clause. So the team has the power. And I've tried to explain to them, look, it's a little different this era of basketball where these guys know they have at least a little bit of power and they're willing to wield it. What are your thoughts on the demand for the one team, and what do you think the end results will probably be?
Yeah, I think what Joe Cronin and Portland, what they're trying to do, what they're looking at here, is very much what happened with the Knicks and Donovan Mitchell last year. That if you remember that summer, it was pretty much presumed that Donovan Mitchell was going to wind up in New York. That they had all these draft picks, and there weren't a whole lot of other teams interested. And so it looked like the Knicks had significant power in determining where Donovan Mitchell was going to go. He's going to come to the Knicks, and we're going to tell you what you're going to take for him. And Danny Ainge and Utah was able to be very, very patient. They were able to wait this out. And in the end, they got a deal that had Laurie Markin in it, had Colin Sexton as part of a sign and trade in it, and had 4 draft picks. So that's what the Blazers are looking at, and they're saying that's what we want to do here. We're gonna hold this out. Donovan Mitchell very much wanted to play in New York, but the Jazz said, we're gonna take what is fair. If New York doesn't want to give us something that we think is fair, then we're going to go ahead and find another offer. So that's where Portland is. They're trying to do what Utah and Danny Ainge did with Donovan Mitchell last year. They're trying to do a different situation. Obviously Lillard being 33 and having $215 million still left on his contract, it makes it a little more difficult for him to be traded. But at the same time, Portland is looking at this like we've got, one of the 10, 15 best players in the league. We want to make sure we get the fair value in return.
Well, no, and I totally understand where Portland's coming from, except for the fact that I think they've let this get so public that their big fear was looking bad, and now they look bad. Like, by letting this get so loud and out there. And Damian, who, again, I was talking before you came on, I never really heard his voice. I know he raps. But he's not one of these dudes that's doing interviews all the time and he's out there in commercials, and like he's actually low key organization guy. Like, for him to be this loud and this defiant and this pissed, it's just made them look worse, which is the one thing they didn't want. That to me is the one difference between, like, Mitchell didn't do any of that. Mitchell, yes, we knew behind closed doors he wanted to go to New York, but he didn't say it. He wasn't tweeting it. He wasn't at clubs playing music. He wasn't, like, Lillard's doing all the weirdo stuff that, like, LeBron or KD would do. Like, Lillard's not doing stuff usually you see from a Damian Lillard. Mitchell was. Like, Mitchell was quiet. He went to Cleveland. He didn't raise a fuss. He didn't, like, that's my thing with this is Lillard's openly, they keep asking him, you sure? He's like, yes, Miami. Like, what do you think that does and makes this situation different from a Mitchell or some of the Paul George or Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah, and you're right. Lillard is not helping the cause here. It's something that it's always bizarre to me for that it happens with players that they can't see that they're making it more difficult for them to achieve their goal. If your goal is to be traded, then to talk about who you want to be traded to, who you don't want to be traded to. When you take teams out of the market, you take teams out of the mix. Then you're really tying the hands of the team that's got to trade you. And if that's your goal, you're making things harder. I don't know why players insist on making this harder for teams that it needs to be, but it is something that happens over and over and over again. And certainly, to the extent that Lillard has let this happen, it's a surprise. That it doesn't make a lot of sense because look, there is less leverage here because of his age and contract. I mean, there's no question that this is not trading Donovan Mitchell. You can compare this thing in some ways, but in some ways it's different because he's 33, and that makes things much more difficult. He's a point guard. He's not Kevin Durant, who can play 3 different positions. That's not what this guy is. He's got one position, and he's had some injury history, especially lately, and he's making a ton of money for the next 4 years. So, it is a much different situation, but he doesn't see it that way. Obviously, he doesn't see it. He sees it as he had a terrific year last year, which he did, but he doesn't see it as you got to pay me $60 million when I'm 37, which is that's going to be true as well. Yeah. And a lot of teams have a hard time, swallowing them.
Before we let you go, I did want to bounce around. We have seen the Celtics acquire Porzingis, but then get rid of Smart. And as of yesterday, Grant Williams is supposedly on his way to the Dallas Mavericks. We've seen the Lakers keep their guys and also bring in a Gabe Vincent. We've seen some other moves around the NBA. Outside of Miami possibly getting Damian Lillard or whoever gets Damian Lillard, what else are you looking to see in this offseason? Like, do you see any other major moves happening?
Yeah, obviously the James Harden thing is still very much you have to wonder if maybe these two things collide at some point, if whatever deal winds up being put together is actually a James Harden and Damian Lillard trade with about 8 teams. We've seen these in the past, I think it when Dwight Howard got traded, and there were like 8 players involved, and Andre Iguodala, there were like 7 different teams. So I think this has the potential to become something that involves that. I think does it involve another superstar that we're not talking about, like a Karl Anthony Towns? Does it involve Zion Williamson? Does it involve Paul George? So that's going to be the real question for me is who else gets sort of sucked into this vacuum, because there's no question that it's going to take maybe even 4 teams to get something done here. So I'm looking at who else winds up getting involved in it.
All right, Sean, it's already been a pretty wild beginning to the offseason, and it feels like it's going to keep rolling. I'm sure we will touch base with you soon. Hopefully you had a happy, healthy, safe 4th of July, and we will talk to you soon, my friend. Thank you so much for doing this.
Okay, Lubie, thank you.
All right, be well. Interesting conversation. Sean is an honest dude, and he reports a lot on the Heat. He's covered the Heat over the years as he covers the NBA at large, talked about the Heat, but he's not Heat-centric, and his opinion was very interesting to me. If you listen to our show this morning, I talked more about it, but the idea that, yes, Damian Lillard, not only asking out, but not asking for the Heat, and then on top of that, every day when people ask him, he's being honest. Whenever they ask his agent's being honest, saying, I just want the Heat, I just want the Heat. Doing that is slowing the process down in a sense, because the Blazers are going to want a real haul for a guy like Damian Lillard. You're seeing what Donovan Mitchell got, some of these other people got. Lillard is better than a Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, some of these other players that got these hauls. So Lillard is going to be worth a haul. So the Blazers are going to want that. And one team being out there makes it harder for them to get a haul. So it does slow it down in a sense. But that's what Dame wants. Lillard would want it now. Look, the reality is he's not working for the Blazers. He's done working with the Blazers. He wanted to stay in Portland. He made that clear. He made it outwardly clear for everyone. That's why he did sign that massive extension. He wanted to play his entire career in Portland. But all they've done the last few years is get rid of talent. They haven't accrued talent. Yes, the last couple of years they've gone real young with some young guys that look like they're going to be studs. Scoot Henderson, Simons, Shaedon Sharp. But those aren't guys that are going to help them win now. He wanted to win now. He made that clear. He's been in the league now 11 years with this organization, and all they've done is lie to him. They told him they were going to try to win now, and all they've done is go the opposite, straight rebuilding mode around him, which isn't going to work for a guy that's 32, turning 33. So he got sick of it, and he asked for out. Once you ask for a trade, and then you ask for a trade to one place, you're not working with the organization. He doesn't care about the organization. And it may slow it down in a sense because Portland is going to slow play it, trying to get the best deal they can. But Lillard doesn't care about that. He's not working for them, and he doesn't trust them. All they've done is lie to him. So who knows where they're going to trade him to? They're going to get the best assets, right, in their mind. Okay, where is that? And how does that guarantee him that he's going to be on a contender? He wants to be on a contender. He wants to win now. That's the only reason he's asking out. So to ask out and not demand a team, you leave it so much. Look, Donovan Mitchell was traded to the Cavs. And yes, the Cavs have nice young pieces. Donovan Mitchell wants to win now. The Cavs literally were the same thing as the Jazz. They were worse. At least with the Jazz, who was threatening to win rounds in the playoffs. Like the Cavs have nice pieces. They're a nice young team. They played a Knicks team that's not that great. The Knicks are an average playoff team that they not only, the Cavs lost to the Knicks, the Cavs to me had more talent than the Knicks. The Knicks annihilated them. It was like a 5-game series and it wasn't even close. Like the Knicks did whatever they wanted in that series. Mitchell gave a few teams, they wanted to trade him. That's the funny thing is he didn't ask out. The Jazz wanted to trade him. He said, okay, if you're going to trade me, here's where I want to go. But he gave a few teams. Okay. So they not only didn't, he still thought he'd go to somewhere in New York. He thought he'd go to the Nets or he'd go to the Knicks. He really wanted to go to the Knicks or possibly the Heat. He really wanted to go to the Heat as well. Those are like the three. You heard those teams a lot. Where'd he end up? The Cavs. The Cavs weren't even talked about. He had no interest in the Cavs, but he opened it up. You open it up. Okay, the teams take advantage. He went to a team that's not a ready contender, that's not close to being a contender because how young they are. It's going to take them 2 or 3 years to really get into form. And he's already talking about, and they're already talking about Mitchell leaving to go to the Nets, who are still a young team, but at least they feel like they're a step quicker than the Cavs. They're in the right direction, where the Cavs are with Mobley and Garland another 2 years away from possibly being a contender. Like, that's what Dame didn't want. Dame didn't want that. Dame wanted what AD got. AD said the Lakers. Yeah, it took a while for them to get the right deal that the Pelicans would be happy with. But he went to the Lakers. He wanted what Durant got when he went to the Suns. Durant said a few teams, but he really, come to find out after the fact, he wanted to go to Phoenix. That's where he wanted to be. Where did Kevin Durant go? Phoenix. Now, they didn't win. It wasn't the greatest idea on Durant's part. It's a lot of offense and no defense, but that's Durant's problem. Durant wanted to be in Phoenix because they were in the finals a couple years ago. They were number 1 seed last year. They looked like they were ready to pop and be a legit contender and win a title. That's where he wanted to go, and they took a little time. They got the right deal. Brooklyn made the trade. When you leave it open to these organizations, they don't give a crap about you, and they've already proven that. And this stupid idea, well, he signed an extension, so screw you. Okay, because teams sign guys to extensions and then trade them. Look, what Hero's going through, it sucks for Tyler Hero because he wants to be here. And the funny thing is that he wants him here. The Heat actually have not offered Hero in these trades, even though fans want them to, because they want to build around Hero. But if you can get Damian Lillard, sorry, Tyler Hero, you're not. Tyler Hero is young and he's good, and I don't know if he'll ever be Damian Lillard, but he can still get better as a 20-point-per-game scorer. He can get better, and he works with Bam really well. But he's not Damian Lillard. And with Jimmy Butler in his early 30s, you got to win now. And if you can get a Damian Lillard, sorry, Tyler, you got to do it. But look at the Heat. They signed Tyler Hero. The next year, they're trading him. Like, organizations do that all the time. Organizations sign guys to extensions and cut them and waive them and buy them out or trade them. So why can't a player sign an extension in good faith, hoping the organization backs the word that they gave him? Then when the organization does not back their word, why would the player not request a trade? Like, it's just stupid to just sit there and waste away for the next 2 to 3 years while these young kids figure it out. Yeah, they may be really good with Lillard, with those guys. First of all, he and Henderson don't work. They're very similar players. And on top of that, like, they're young. He'll be in his mid to late 30s by the time they figure it out. Like, it just made zero sense. So, of course, he's going to ask out. And if he's going to ask out after he's seen the way they've treated him the last 3 to 4 years, why would he trust them to send him to a contender? Yeah, we hear the Nets. We hear the Celtics. But that's not guaranteed, Dave. Remember, what the Blazers are saying is they want the best package. What if the T-Wolves have the best package? What if the Pelicans have the best package? So they've been pretty honest saying, and they've lied to him, but they've been pretty clear. I don't know if they're honest, pretty clear saying we want the best package. So they don't have Damian Lillard's best interest at heart. They've made that clear. So he asked out to go to a team. Like, look at Mitchell. Mitchell asked out to go to a team that was in the same position. The Jazz were getting to the playoffs, and we're interesting, and would lose in the first, second round. What are the Cavs? So the dude got traded to the same situation. Damian Lillard is asking out specifically to win now. How can he trust that they're going to get him anywhere that's a contender? They can't. He can't. His group can't. He can't. So he asked out for a specific team. Good for him. Good for him. Because you know what? Players have been screwed by organizations for so long. Let the players have a little power. And yes, I am a Heat fan. So yes, I am biased. I love that he asked for the Heat. But I think this whole thing's entertaining. Because the Blazers should have... Look, when he was frustrated, instead of lying to him, they should have just said, look, we're going through a rebuild. He would have been okay. And he probably would have let them trade him to wherever. But they kept saying, no. We want you. We're going to win with you. They kept saying it. And they kept saying it. To the point where they pushed him over the edge. And he told them to go screw themselves. So I understand what Sean is saying in this conversation, that, yes, this is delaying it in the sense that if Lillard wasn't being so adamant, it may still be the Heat, but the Blazers could maybe get more because they'd have more upper hand and they would have done the deal already. That may be true, but he can't trust the Blazers. He can't. So because he can't trust the Blazers, he can't leave the ball in their court. It's got to be in his court. He has the ball, and he's making the friggin' decisions. And he does have all the power here because he's made it clear he's willing to make it ugly. He won't say the word sit out. He keeps saying the term make it ugly. Dude, if people don't know what that means he's not going to play. And his agent's literally going to play team saying, look, you trade for him and you're not the Heat, you're going to have an unhappy player. You understand what that means? Like, they don't want to go out there and say the words he won't play, but that's what they're saying. Good for him. And I'd love to see him in the Miami Heat uniform. I sort of expect to see him at this point. We'll see what else happens. It's been interesting in the summer league. Jovic looks like a beast. And by all accounts, he doesn't seem to be in any of these trades. So it could be interesting for the Miami Heat in the coming years. We talked a lot about that with Sean Deveney. We'll talk about that in the coming days. Check us out each and every morning on the Defo Show with Lubie, South Florida Live. Check us out on our national podcast, the Believe Network, BLEAV.com. Search after hours. And check us out here with our South Florida content, the Defo Show with Lubie, here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.